Catching a narcissist isn't about spotting arrogance or vanity, but rather recognizing those patterns of manipulation, the lack of empathy that they have, and the false self that they present to you. It's all about you seeing through that performance that they put on, the charm that they have, and the confusion that they create with you. Hello, my name is Julie, and welcome to my channel. And I love talking about this topic because I grew up with a narcissistic parent figure. So when I was a child, I was a bit brainwashed and I idealized that parent figure. I thought that the best way to survive and to have power in the world is to behave like a narcissist and to manipulate and seduce people to get your way in this life. So, exactly that I learned. I taught myself how to manipulate, how to gaslight people. I found my ways how to seduce people and get my way. Whenever I thought of having something for myself, it was always about me. It was what I wanted for myself. People were a tool for me because narcissists lack empathy and they use other people to feel better about themselves, which is exactly the way I was behaving when I was a teenager. However, once I became an adult and I realized that I am someone who is self aware, I am someone who's empathetic, and the way that I chose to survive by behaving like a narcissist, according to what I saw as a child, was not making me happy. So I decided to change my ways, to heal, and to find my own peace away from narcissists after I ended up in a narcissistic relationship as well. I understood how to be narcissistic. And because I understood how to do it, now I understand how I can spot them and keep them away from me so I don't need to deal with them anymore. Now, this video is not a diagnosis because a lot of people can exhibit some of these signs and they're not actual narcissists. They don't have the personality disorder. So, a lot of the people that you might meet are just narcissistic, but not actual narcissists. What makes a person an actual narcissist is that they lack empathy. So, within their brain, they have fewer connections than the normal, average, healthy person to their empathy centers. Therefore, they don't understand your perspective or they don't feel how you're feeling and they see things from their side. Nevertheless, if you have people exhibiting these signs for you, they're still considered as red flags, even if they're not narcissists or narcissistic. So, these are some good red flags to look out for when you're meeting people and seeing how they talk about themselves and how they behave with you. How to catch a narcissist? Let's begin. First, they will love bomb you. And it might not happen right away, like on the first date, but within your first few interactions with them, you will start to see that they might confess their love to you. They might start giving you so many gifts, so over giving gifts to you. So they make you fall in love with them. Or they might even start planning future trips, although you just met. So they might be telling you, oh, we're going to travel together, or I'm going to take you to this place, or to that place, or to this place. And again, they're doing everything it takes to show you that, oh, we fell in love with you, and for you to fall in love with them. And that way they get you into their trap. Here's a good way to figure out if you're being love bombed or not. Ask yourself, with the time frame that you just met or you started talking to this person, would you do for them what they're doing for you? And you got to be realistic about this because if someone's over giving you and they just went out with you for a few times or they know you for such a short period of time, even if it's a friend, then why are they doing that? Like, you just met me, you don't know me, we're not even that close yet. Two, they will try to test your boundaries. And one of the most common ways I've had that experience with myself is often the physical boundary that I set. So, for example, hugs or touching hands. Even as a friend, if I tell you that this is not something I'm comfortable with, oftentimes what they will do is they will try to test that boundary. So they will try to touch you teasingly or as a joke. And in that way, they're testing to see, okay, you said you don't want to be touched. How about if I give you a side hug? Are you going to say anything? And if you don't say anything, then they might do it again, slowly get you back used to being hugged when you said you don't like hugs. Number three, they brag about themselves. It's so funny that whenever I meet narcissists and I sit with them or narcissistic people, all they do is talk about themselves and their achievements and all the good things that they have done and how they're amazing at their job and what they do for hobbies and how they're great and they excel in their hobbies, and it's just everything's so good, 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 good. It's like they're showing you the perfect image when you first meet them. But even you start telling yourself, like, is it possible that you're that good? Like, what about the bad things? Like the things that you failed in? Can you like give me examples? Like, no one's that perfect, but they try to give you that image of it to impress you with it. But then when it's your time to talk or when you want to talk about your achievements, number four, they don't listen. If you've ever sat with someone and then after you finished the conversation and you left, you felt like there was more talking from their side than them actually listening to you, or you felt like you weren't heard enough, or they weren't actually getting to know you, that's a sign. And maybe you should listen to that feeling that you have. Because oftentimes, true, when I sit with narcissists or narcissistic people, I don't feel like I was actually heard and seen on a like date or on that hangout with them. They will ask about you, they will talk, like you will get your chance to talk, but even when you talk, you don't feel like it's genuine, or they're actually trying to understand you more. But you just felt like, they were just there asking you questions. And pretty much number five, gathering data on you. So this is something that narcissists do, is that they ask you questions that will tell them more information that they can use against you. Personally, one of my favorite manipulation tactics to use when I was younger was to understand what are a person's fears and weaknesses. Because the moment I understood these two parts, I can use them against that person so that I can become another weakness and then they can fear losing me so I don't get abandoned. Here's a way you can do it by understanding a person's past and, for example, uh, understanding their past relationship. So you would ask about, like, oh, how was your previous relationship? What happened between you and your ex? And you find out from that story what ticks them. So if a person is getting attracted to a narcissist, maybe before that they were in another toxic relationship, since we often tend to repeat patterns when we don't sort out and heal our wounds. So if they were in a toxic relationship, they would tell the narcissist, oh, we broke up because he cheated on me. And now he, the narcissist, or she, they can use that information against you. So now they can threaten you of leaving you. They can make you feel insecure by liking other girls' or boys' pictures. And they can start to belittle you by telling you that your ex cheated on you and it was your fault. So they start to blame shift and make you feel worse about yourself now that they have that piece of information on you. So, yeah, if you feel like that person's asking you questions to kind of fish information about you, because honestly, when you meet someone and you're getting to know them, even with your friends, usually you talk about your life, what you do for fun, like you slowly get to know that person. But whenever I went out with narcissistic people, there was fun involved. I wouldn't say it was completely boring, but at the same time, I felt like a lot of those questions were like, right on point, like, oh, tell me about your family, tell me about your past relationships, tell me, what do you like, what do you hate, what turns you on, what are you looking for? And it's all these questions that, like, if you know the answers, then you can paint a picture for me that will make me fall in love with you. And then turns out that's a fake picture, which is exactly what narcissists do. You got to be careful. So when you get that gut feeling that that person wasn't actually listening to you, or you just felt like they were getting information out of you rather than actually connecting with you, number six, you got to trust your gut feeling. This might not be easy for everyone, but over time, when I started listening to my body and learning how to do that, I realized that my gut feeling was always right. Whenever I went out with someone that was narcissistic, when I would hear them talk and the way they would behave, and I would see all these little things, my stomach would just, I don't know, my gut would be telling me that I don't feel safe. Or another gut feeling I would get sometimes is I would remember certain things related to past narcissists. Like, I went out with this person that reminded me so much of someone I used to know that was actually narcissistic. And I was like, damn, I felt like I had this deja vu. But then I asked myself, like, why would this person remind me of that person? And I wasn't shocked. The more I got to know the person, I realized, yeah, two peas in a pod. But trust the gut feeling. Your gut, if your gut is telling you that you're not comfortable or you don't feel safe or you don't feel like it was genuine, then trust it. You lose nothing from trusting your gut feeling.
Yes, queen.
Number seven, I wouldn't say it's with all narcissists or like narcissistic people, because some of them tend to be more introverted and shy, but a lot of narcissists will dominate the conversation. So you will see that they're consistently talking, whether it's about themselves or other people, but they're the ones who kind of lead the conversations. A lot of narcissists are charismatic. And the reason why they need to have this charm and this charisma and they dominate and they want people to like them is because they can't present their actual selves to everyone. That's the survival tactic. If you express who you are to people, then you're also expressing your vulnerability. You're expressing your fears and your weaknesses. And that's something that you're using against people as a narcissist. So for you, you need to present this false self, that image of you being strong and sexy and unshakable, so that people can't use that against you. They can't use your weakness and your wounds against you as a narcissist. Therefore, they want to be the center of attention. They want to dominate the conversation. They want people to like them so that they don't stay alone for the rest of their lives. But then, of course, once a person starts to like them and gets extremely close to them, you start seeing their real face. So that's a sign to look out for. Do they dominate the conversation or do they also allow you to have space to talk and express yourself? Number eight, you need to look out for this one, but they will either blame you or blame someone else. So, for example, if you go to a restaurant and let's say by mistake you dropped something, or you tipped over your glass and some juice fell out, or you ordered something that you didn't like, oftentimes the way they will respond is they will subtly blame you. Like they will tell you, for example, oh, look at what you did. Or they will tell you, oh, yeah, but it's your choice. You ordered it. So it's like they're blaming you, but of course, not directly in your face, not yet at least. Or another way that they will do that is if they're talking about a story, let's say with their friend or with their ex or with their family, they will always find someone to blame. That's never them. So if they're discussing their past relationship, they will blame their ex. If they're discussing a problem at work, they will blame their coworkers. They're always blaming everyone else but themselves. In their mind, they're not the problem. So when you are listening to their stories or even with the way that they speak to you will notice that they're never the blame. They're always the victim, but they're not the problem. And therefore, it's always you or other people that are to blame. And lastly, they will attempt to shift your reality or even gaslight you. I've had this happen on so many occasions. And the most common way to gaslight someone is by saying something, but then when they repeat it to you, you say, I never said that. That's not how I said it. You're not remembering it correctly. Especially if they said something that triggered you or that you did not like, then they will gaslight you so you forget or you get confused about whether it happened or not. Suddenly, what you heard and what you saw is not real or it's distorted in your brain. Confusion is a form of manipulation. If you're feeling confused when you're with or talking to a narcissistic person, then ask yourself, why are you confused? Because someone who's being genuine and someone that's looking for connection is going to seek clarity with you rather than confusion. However, the questions that you ask a narcissist are extremely important because sometimes the way that they answer you can actually tell you whether they are behaving narcissistically or they're empathetic and they're able to own up to their own flaws and shortcomings and mistakes. So, here are three bonus questions that you can ask people if you want to understand whether they're narcissistic or not. Number one, tell me about your last conflict or breakup. A narcissist is going to answer by blaming other people. They see everyone else as the problem, but not themselves. So if they tell you about their conflict or their breakup, and then in the story you see that they're blaming everyone else but themselves, that, oh, the family made problems, my friend made problems, my ex made problems. Yeah, beware. Number two, what's something that you've done that you regret deeply? A narcissist will answer that question in a way that makes them look good. So, a person that's healthy will answer that question, maybe tell you that they're working on it, but a narcissist will, most of the times, they will come up with something, they will answer your question, but then they will say, we've worked on it. We're no longer like that. We've learned from our mistakes. Again, they need to look good. They might make themselves look bad when they were younger, but now they're good. Beware. Number three, how do you handle being wrong? So there are four ways a narcissist will respond to this question that's a bit different than how a healthy person would. So, of course, someone that's secure, someone that's healthy, they will often tell you, I sit down, I reflect, I think about it, I apologize. They will come up with some sort of answer. However, someone who never sees themselves as someone who does wrong things, they first of all might deflect. So they might end up asking you the question back and not answering it.
So, how do you handle your mistakes, Missy?
Or they might end up making a joke about the question and saying, like, mistakes? I don't know what are those. I've never done those. I'm never wrong. Ha ha ha. To deflect from the question. Second, they might over explain themselves. And through over explanation, you get confused and lost. So they might ask you multiple questions like, what do you mean wrong? Do you mean emotionally, physically, with friends, with family, today, tomorrow, when? So they confuse and they over explain. And do you mean wrong and I said sorry, or wrong and I didn't say sorry? So again, now you're confused, now you're lost. And that's the point. So they don't have to admit that they were ever wrong. Three, they might become passive aggressive. Like, what do you mean? How do I handle being wrong? Or lastly, they might blame shift. So even when they're, trying to explain themselves and saying like, "Oh, I sit and I think about it and I apologize," suddenly they tell you, "But the other person made a bigger problem and then they made it worse." And again, the story goes from, I shift my blame. I don't take my blame. I might be wrong, but then they were wronger. They were worse. So don't look at me. I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not wrong. I've dealt with so many narcissists, more men than women, to be honest. But oftentimes, again, even if they're not narcissists and you catch those signs, those are red flags that you need to look out for. You don't want someone that cares about themselves, that doesn't listen, that brags, that love bombs, that tries to blame you all the time. And if that's how you're starting any type of relationship, how do you think it will end? Sadly, if you've dealt with a narcissistic figure in your life previously, then there's a high chance that you will end up dealing with another narcissistic figure if you haven't healed that wound that you have. And you're going to keep repeating that pattern until you recognize these people and you set your boundaries and not allow them within your space and your energy. Narcissists have low self worth, and they attract and get attracted to people that have low self worth as well, since they're the easiest people to control and manipulate and take advantage of and consistently blame and have them accept that kind of treatment. So, if you're dealing with a narcissist or you find yourself always dealing with them, then work on your relationship with yourself and work on your own self worth. And one day you might still have to meet them in the real world, but you'll be able to catch them and draw your boundaries and never have to deal with them ever again. But what about you? What are some other ways that you have caught a narcissist before? Please let me know in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this one, make sure that you hit like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.